and welcome to our new podcast series, USP, that is Unfolding Startup Potential by Learnbay. My name is Pritesh, and at USP, we invite founders and leaders who are working at startups, who are creating startups and companies that closely work with AI. And our guest for today is young IITian Rahul Kashyap, who has done his master's from IIT Kharagpur with over a decade of experience in different domains and working with lots and lots of data at different MNCs, Rahul has started a very unique and interesting company, Outspoken. So let's hear it from Rahul. Welcome to the show, Rahul.
Hey, thanks, Pritesh. Thanks for inviting me. And also, thanks a lot for the kind words. It's lovely to be here. And I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Would love to share my journey. I'd let you take this forward as you wish.
Great. Thank you so much. So, Rahul, let us begin from the beginning. So, can you just tell our listeners a bit about yourself and also tell us about Outspoken?
Sure, wonderful. Thanks, Pritesh. So, my name is Rahul. I come from a very small town in Jharkhand called Dhanbad. Growing up in that town, all that we cared about was to get good education as we grew up, which would help us secure our careers in the longer run. I was lucky enough to get into one of the IITs. I got into IIT Kharagpur back in 2011, spent 5 years at the college. I have a master's degree in economics out of that experience. For the last 9, 10 years, I've mostly dabbled in AI and education. The first 5 years was working for a range of consulting companies and product based companies, specifically in the analytics space. So I work with Accenture, I work with a startup called Happy as well. Great learnings in that period. Uh, what I also took out of that time while I was working with companies like Happy and Accenture was that I explored my passion for teaching. I was able to get affiliated to a bunch of edtech institutions in and around where I lived in Bangalore and got the opportunity to train a lot of working professionals who were looking to upskill in analytics and AI in that time, which was a great experience. I was able to interact with thousands of working professionals and early graduates looking to upskill and build a career in analytics. This is what my first 5 years looked like. The last 5 years have been pretty hectic. I started on my entrepreneurial journey, began and co-founded a company called Skills Slash back in 2021. The aim of the company was to help professionals like us upskill in cutting edge technology skills. We did that for about 3.5, 4 years. While the last 1.5 years has been spent building this new venture called Outspoken. Very excited to talk about it. But yeah, I don't think I want to drag this answer any longer than it has to. There's a quick intro. I intended it to be quick, but probably it's been a bit long. But
No, Rahul, it was very interesting to, and also it's very inspiring for everybody out there that coming from a small town and making it in the, Silicon Valley of India, and you're doing pretty well, let me tell you. And we would love to know more about Outspoken. So, what are you doing at Outspoken? What is Outspoken all about? And the most important question in this is that what problem are you solving with Outspoken?
yeah, makes a lot of sense. Although I would like to point out that I don't think we're there yet. It's a long journey still that is yet to happen. I think we're in the very early days right now. But with Outspoken, the idea is pretty simple. With my experience trying to educate, help professionals upskill and grow in the workplace, what we realized consistently across the board, looking at a very wide range of people coming from all kinds of diverse technical as well as functional backgrounds, we realized that people are often able to upskill themselves technically. But when it comes to pressure situations in life, specifically in the workplace, people tend to struggle a lot with that. The ability to articulate yourself well in pressure situations like interviews or team meetings, and there are a range of such situations in the workplace. You've got to handle criticism, you've got to manage conflicts at the workplace. There's so many situations that happen with people. And the inability to articulate yourself well in those situations, put your point forward in the right way, sort of pegs down the growth of a lot of working professionals. So, in my quest to help people improve technically, we realized that there are a lot of other skills that our education system fails to put enough focus on, which is why a lot of people tend to struggle in their careers in the longer run, especially when it comes to growth and growing into managerial roles and going into those positions. That's why we felt there's a huge gap. People don't have the right training that is required to actually lead and run teams effectively in the long run. And I think that's where we come in. We wanted to leverage the power of AI. So, using AI, we were able to democratize and make education like this, which is often missing in the regular classroom learning that we do. We wanted to make this extremely accessible, and we are able to do that with Outspoken, where we're able to create affordable programs that working professionals can go through to improve in workplace communication skills. There are a lot of things in the workplace that you don't like dealing with. Those could be tricky situations like handling feedback or responding to people assigning blame or any of those wide range of situations that can be a struggle for people. We want to help people get better at those things, get better at those situations, as a result of which they progress faster and further in their lives. So that's basically the primary goal with Outspoken.
Great, that's very nice to know. And Godspeed to Outspoken and your team.
Absolutely.
Talking about AI, Rahul, you have worked extensively with AI. Again, Outspoken is, closely working with AI. So, do you remember that when was your first interaction with AI?
That's an interesting question, actually. So, since I've been in analytics and AI and this whole space in general for a long time, I think my interaction with AI would probably be a little different from what you would expect from somebody who is not directly in this space. The first time I got exposed to ideas like machine learning and statistics and AI was back in 2014 when I did my first internship out of college. And that's my first exposure to understanding, knowing about AI and all of that. But I don't think this is an interesting enough experience. So I'll tell you what's most interesting for me as a user. I think, and I think this would have happened with a lot of people. There was suddenly a time when machines started completing our sentences. And this is back in those days when we were using WhatsApp and Gmail and lot of these channels, traditional channels for messaging. And there was suddenly a time when our sentences started getting completed in these apps. And that is something that was absolutely unbelievable for a lot of people, even for us who've been in this space. Although we do realize that machines have certain capabilities, but then to start predicting stuff that hasn't happened yet is obviously possible in a lot of predictive modeling scenarios and a lot of structured data problem scenarios. But with something like this, with something like language, the ability to anticipate what I am thinking in my head and to be able to see that on your screen without actually having written it was something that was absolutely amazing for me, blew my mind back in that. I think this was back in 2017, 2018, I believe, when it started happening with Gmail and everything. And I think that was one of the first times when I realized that yeah, I think AI is here already. It's starting to impact our lives, but it'd be amiss to say that I could have predicted the pace at which things have happened beyond that time. I think things have happened much faster than a lot of people would have anticipated, and it's only going to keep getting faster. So I think yeah, amazing experience with that. Yeah.
Great. And how are you guys at Outspoken leveraging AI to scale faster?
Well, I think in this day and age, it's very difficult to build a company or to be in a world where everything is trying to become AI native. It's very difficult to actually not leverage AI in almost everything that you do. So, when you talk about building a company, obviously it looks very simple from the outside, but in a lot of cases, it requires a lot of grunt work, right? From admin tasks to legal to finance to HR and to a range of other things that happen within an organization, whether it is business facing teams like marketing or whether it is your dev teams. So, almost every team currently in our organization is AI enabled. we don't see ourselves being able to function as efficiently as we've been doing in the last 1.5 years without the impact that AI has had in our lives, whether it is from writing ad creatives or marketing copies to writing efficient code or being able to code faster. No matter what task you look at from a org building point of view, almost everything is AI assisted already. I do understand that a lot of companies will take significant time to sort of completely transform their workforce completely. And this is something that happens a lot with larger organizations where any change takes time. But with companies like ours, which has been built in this day and age, I think we're completely AI native. We try and utilize everything that is available to us that AI can offer us across teams in the organization. So I think it's been very difficult to reach where we are today at the pace that we've been able to do it at without AI having an impact.
Great. Very well said, Rahul. Rahul, you said that you are building a company where almost every department is AI enabled, and there are larger organizations who will take time, but they also will, in a way, get taken over by AI. So let me address the question which has been there. Since a couple of years, and everybody is, kind of little worried. It's a little, itching everybody somewhere. Do you think that AI is going to replace jobs?
I think
And
with
let us talk about all the different kinds of jobs.
good. I think with the context that you said, I was able to anticipate maybe 5 seconds. Not as good as an LM would have done, but I was able to anticipate what you're about to say. And I think this is a common sort of doomsday theory. Although I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory. I wouldn't call it, or I wouldn't, or I'd say I don't want to be rude enough to try and discount the possibility where a lot of people lose jobs because of AI. I think that's a very real possibility, and there's no point denying it. But this is not the first time that this has happened with civilizations. So if you read a lot of books, so I'm somebody who loves to read books. There's a book that I read which is called Rise and Fall of Civilizations. And this is something that has happened across generations as humans have evolved. There'll always be changes that seem extremely dangerous to people. Uh, Everything, or what we call status quo, right? So what's there, everything that's already existing is subject to change because of some things that happen in your life. And this is true across the history of civilization and how civilizations grow. AI seems short of no other such change. AI is huge. The impact that AI is going to have in our lives, whether it is professionally, personally, it's huge. It's also going to have a huge impact on jobs. But what I believe is going to happen is instead of AI killing jobs, it will sort of change the nature of the jobs that are available in the market. And this is what traditionally happens every time. We are hunter gatherers to begin with. We then realize that, hey, it's too tough a job to do that. Let's settle down. And we discovered agriculture, right? Everything was human, right? Everything was human led with agriculture. And then we realized that, hey, it's time to get machines to do most of our jobs. And then the industrial revolution happened.
True.
At that point, everybody would have been worried that, hey, farming is going to change in a way that we haven't imagined. There were thousands of people who were working in these farms, and now with tractors and with the industrial revolution, we are going to be out of a job. But what happened was those same people started doing new things. They were now running those factories. They were now making sure that those machines were well built. And I think with India, the way we developed, we sort of jumped the manufacturing growth loop and we went to services directly. As a result of which we did not see this manufacturing change happen. A lot of countries have already seen this change, where a large part of their workforce was doing something very different, and then industrialization happened, and they started doing something completely different entirely. So what I think will happen with AI is, yes, definitely the total number of jobs might go down, but there'll be a lot of new opportunities that get created in the market, which means that individuals or professionals who stay with the pace, who don't miss out this tide, are going to do really well in their lives. But there's a very good chance that if you sort of miss the wave at this point, it'll be very difficult to come back on track. So it has those implications definitively. AI does seem to be in a situation where it would fundamentally change how people work, but I don't think it's going to absolutely create a doomsday scenario where everybody is out of a job. I think you've got to be much more hopeful about AI. I think AI could solve some of the biggest problems that we have. I think very few people are worried or concerned about food security at this point. But it's going to be one of the biggest crises that the world will face in the next 20, 30 years. We do need somebody to solve that problem. Humans have lost the incentive to try and revolutionize agriculture. Probably it's AI that's going to lead the way, which is why we've got to believe that AI is going to make our lives simpler, obviously, with the right sort of guardrails that we can place on AI so that we can always know what it is doing. But although it might impact jobs in a negative way in the shorter run, I think in the longer run, it's only going to have a positive impact on this civilization. So I think that is the way we should think.
Yeah. So I think in a way you're saying that equilibrium will be
Absolutely,
achieved.
absolutely.
We just have to go along with the wave.
Yeah. You might need a smaller workforce that might be able to achieve bigger things, and people are probably able to explore philosophy a lot more.
True.
And you don't actually have to work hard to get the bread. And that is how life might change. You don't know. But we always want and hope for the best, right? We want AI to work in a direction where it sort of creates a lot more positive outcomes than the immediate shortfall of the Microsofts and the Amazons laying off large parts of their teams, because they don't need those many people anymore to do the job that they were doing earlier. So although it might seem very doomsday like in the shorter run, I think this is one of the most hopeful things that humans can look up to in terms of fundamentally changing how we live, right? And solving problems that we could have never thought of solving before. I think all in all, it's a positive change.
Also, Rahul, along the same lines, I would like to ask you that, if earlier somebody used to be in school or high school, they used to choose a particular stream of learning based on a XYZ career. Say I chose English honors because I wanted to be a writer, or I wanted to be a copywriter or a content writer, whatever. But as we spoke, there is AI now to do a better, quicker job. So, what advice would you give to students on how should they carve a way so that they have a safe career, or they have something to look forward to?
Yeah, I think the flux has already shifted in the direction of AI already. I think so. If you look back at college degrees back in the time I went to college, so 11 to 16, you'd probably have 1% or maybe 2-3% degrees that offered a specialization in AI. But today, if you go and look at the list of streams that are available in any reputed college, private or public, you'll realize that about 60% of the curriculum is already AI native. Whether you're doing manufacturing, or you're doing mechanical, or you're doing civil, or you're doing electrical, electronics, everything comes with a specialization in AI. So this lot of people who are going to colleges or who started going to colleges in the last 2 or 3 years, there's a lot of AI native education that's already happening for them. So one, do that education well, right? So as a student, when you got that time, I think there's no better time to study. Unfortunately, we are at a certain age where this does not seem very apparent to us. As we grow, we begin to realize that was one of the easiest times to probably study, upskill, very less pressure. You're living in a bubble sort of within the college.
True.
And you have all the liberty, all the freedom that you can probably have access to. But the problem is a lot of people sort of tend to miss that ship. So when you get into the industry, so as a working professional, the game really changes very quickly. the kind of expectations that people have out of working professionals is very different from the kind of expectation I'd have from a person who's just come out of a college. So in my last 9-10 years, I've done a lot of hiring for myself. I've trained a lot of people who've gone on to work in different organizations in analytics AI roles. From that whole hiring experience, what I've learned, when I'm going and hiring somebody with, say, let's say 3 years, 5 years, 7 years of experience, I don't actually expect them to need a lot of hand holding while they're in the organization. Which is why the moment you think of upskilling, you cannot think of upskilling in isolation. Upskilling has to be sort of combined with real hands-on experience. Without combining the two together, it's very difficult to create a package that a hiring manager would love to look at, right? As a college student, there are very little risks for me. I'm hiring at a low value. I'm also hiring with very less expectations because it's commonly understood that people are not really ready for the industry when they come out of college and they need a lot of training. And companies like Wipro, Infosys, they spend thousands of dollars on to retraining the employees once they come out of college and join them. So obviously that is there, but as a working professional, you need to come with a certain level of expertise, which is why upskilling as a professional becomes much more trickier as compared to upskilling as a student.
Got it.
It can have huge positive implications on your life, which is why a lot of people want to do it. But the moment you are able to supplement learning with some real hands-on experience, that makes the whole package much more sellable. Which means that if you're able to implement what you've learned in this AI upskilling journey through some experiences of working with organizations or working internally within your organization, if you're able to supplement that with some real validation of work, I think there's nothing better. Your chances of getting hired, your chances of getting to the goal for that whole upskilling journey is much higher if you're able to supplement that with real work. And I think this is one of the most important things that people tend to overlook. They feel that whether they're 20 years old or 40 years old, if they learn something, that's more than enough for somebody to go and say that, hey, now that you learned this, come and work for me. Well, for a 20-year-old, that answer might be come and work for me. For a 40-year-old, for somebody who's coming with 15 years of experience and who's going to charge a good salary, companies are not that willing unless they feel that this person is going to add value from day one. And that is not possible until you've actually implemented what you've learned through real experiences.
True.
And that's supremely critical, I think. So that's one of the most important things when you're on this upskilling journey. And no matter what that skill set is, you might be upskilling in marketing, you might be upskilling in anything else, right? But the moment you're able to supplement your learning with real tangible proof of work, life becomes much simpler. So I think that's one of the most important suggestions that I would have.
Great. Absolutely, I totally agree. And along the same lines of upskilling, Rahul, here at Learnbay, we have come up with live projects wherein we are collaborating with companies, and the learners, they get a chance to work for the companies, and that becomes a part of the project learning, and it's like a very practical learning experience. So what do you feel about this?
I think that's very powerful. I think since I'm a direct benefactor, I've actually utilized a bunch of students from your institute while we were on this journey of building Outspoken. I think that whole experience of working on live projects or interacting with active professionals in the space that you're trying to enter, I think that can be very powerful. I think what you've talked about is something that has been missing from learning almost completely in the last few years that I've actively and closely looked at this upskilling market, which is a focus on implementation of what you learn. And I think I said this again in my previous answer as well, is obviously there's value in learning, but the fact that you learned something in itself is testament to nothing. The fact that you learned a skill, unless I can get a third person to, hey, can you validate what he's saying? Unless I can get a third person to say that, hey, he's good at this, I don't really value what you're talking about, right? You might know all the Vedas for that matter. But unless there's somebody who can add credibility to that learning that you have, it becomes very difficult. And a third person won't be able to do that unless they work with you. Which means that when I'm in an interview, when I don't know the person that I'm talking to, there's very less likelihood that he's going to trust what you're going to say. But what you already have, what is tangible, which is proof of work.
True.
There's nothing more reliable than that, right? So as a hiring manager, when I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, if you can tell me that, hey, I know about churn modeling, or let's say I know about market mix modeling, that's good for me. If I'm a company that needs people who know about market mix modeling, it's good for me. But if I can see a project on your resume, or if you can talk about a project experience where you've done market mix modeling, you've done attrition modeling for a company, I think that gives me a lot more credibility. Because I can write a small email to your manager in that organization and just check, hey, is this guy as good as he says he is? And I'm going to get real feedback about your work, right?
True.
Which is why I feel what you talked about is quite powerful. The ability to showcase your work is something that is essential in all respects, because without being able to showcase or give some level of validation on what your skills are, it's very difficult to hire people. And hence, I think this could be a great initiative. I'd love to know about what people's experiences are like, your students' experiences are like. But as an educator myself, I would think this carries a lot of value.
Yeah, Rahul, very well said. And you mentioned credibility and you mentioned a proof. So, the proof that the learner gets is that once the learner completes their real time project with their partner companies, they get a certificate for the AI collab
Wow.
experience. And this certificate is a proof enough that, they have worked on the project and how satisfied the company was with their working. So, I think that should help any interviewer to get knowledge about how good the learner is. So now, Rahul, moving to the last segment, I really liked you mentioned in the very beginning that AI started with completing our sentences. I think even we before, when we were in school, if we used to type anything on MS Word, it used to give us an option to correct the spelling. I think that was also very very nascent form of AI, that this might be wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's true. It is something that happens out of the analytics space, but uh, there's often something that people sort of don't understand very clearly about analytics, where so AI is something that can think on its own, right? So AI is something that can think like an average human does, right? And create new stuff. That's where correcting a word and correcting a mistake versus completing a sentence are two tasks that are very different among themselves, right? So, like you said, it was one of the earlier forms of AI trying to create impact. And it's a machine learning model that is able to achieve that. If you write a word and if you do it incorrectly, it'll help you auto correct that word. And it is an application of data science. A slightly more advanced application was when we started seeing AI completing our sentences, and that was like a fun thing for us. And I think now what we see is much more advanced, where you can ask any common question that you would ask any other individual or an expert, and AI is able to figure out how to answer that question well, how to give you the information that you need. So I think this is where it's evolved to already. But I think we are still at a time where this growth curve is going to become even more hockey stick like. The speed or the rate at which AI is going to amaze you will keep getting faster. And there'll be a time where you won't be able to expect what you can expect AI to do.
Yeah,
right?
that was sorry. That was going to be my last question. That fast forward, it's 2035.
Okay.
What do you think AI is able to do now? I want to know your view on that hockey stick curve.
So I think there's a little child in me that has a wonderful answer for that question, but
Please,
I'll
please,
stay
please.
away from that answer
No,
probably.
no, we would love to hear
Where
it.
it's all about flying cars and a fun city where You don't need a lot of space. Everything is vertically optimized. Agriculture is happening within the city. You don't have to transport your produce. I think there's so much that can radically change the way we live, the way we work, the way we interact with people, the way we experience things around us, right? So there's so much that can change. And the dreamer in me wouldn't stop answering this question, which is why I'll come back to the professional in me. Uh, to give you a sense of how AI can sort of impact the industry, the entire industry as a whole, I'm not talking about education specifically, is I think you'll see co-pilots for everything. It's already started. So coders already have their gun, which is your cursors and these co-pilots that you have for coding. There's a reason why coders got their co-pilot the fastest, because coding is one of those mathematical things that AI can do very well.
True.
Whereas writing a story is something that is not mathematical. There's a lot of creative element to it, and we probably need to get to that stage where your AI becomes AGI, where uh, it's able to feel like humans can. It's already able to think and talk and do a lot of things like humans can. But the moment it can feel and start behaving very much like a human, and when you get closer to AGI, it probably get to that stage where uh, uh, it's able to do things that we can't even comprehend. But I think the most recent uh, expected change in the industry would be that just like coders have co-pilots, no matter what function role you work in, all of us will have co-pilots. If you're a marketing guy, you're a marketing co-pilot. If you're an operations guy, you got an operations co-pilot. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in organizations that humans don't need to do actually. So if I can give you a small example to help explain this, if we look at the example of education, what's the most fundamental central thing about education? It's teachers, right? It's people who come and teach. Everything else gets built around it. You build businesses around it, you can build empires around it, but at the center of it is a teacher who comes and teaches a group of people. Now a teacher does so many things. They don't just teach. They make curriculum, they make papers, they check papers, they create assignments, they check assignments, they do hand holding with students, they give people the right emotional support when required. So there are so many things that a teacher does. A lot of those things they don't need to do actually. So in 5 years, I don't see them making curriculum, I don't see them making content, I don't see them making questions, solving answers. All of this can be automated through AI. All of this Gen AI can solve for us already with the tech that we have at this point in time.
True.
So with the speed at which tech is evolving, it might be able to do a lot more other things as well. But the way I can see education or the life of a teacher transform is that he's able to take all the administrative burden or overhead out of his life and just focus on teaching, which means more personalized learning, more personalized support, a smaller teacher to student ratio, uh, and a lot of other things that are going to fundamentally help education move in the right direction. Now, this is just education. I think this is going to happen with every other industry as well. So, whether you're a nurse or a doctor or a engineer or a builder, whoever you are, you're going to have a co-pilot, a AI co-pilot with you, who's going to do a lot of your jobs, make your life much easier. Which is why I say that the impact that AI will have on jobs is it'll change the nature of your job a lot. So right now, as a marketing guy, you might be spending 30 or 40% of your time trying to figure out the copies and the kind of content that is required, and all of that has sort of gotten down to maybe 5% of your time now in the last couple of years, I'm assuming, with Gen AI, right?
True.
That is how it's going to impact your lives, your daily lives. So everybody is probably going to be using some co-pilot. I can't, there's nobody who can say for sure, but I think it's also going to penetrate personal lives of people as well. So it's not just going to stay limited to professional growth and professional lives, but whether it is for grocery shopping or finding the right movie to watch or you're already using
the
a lot
right
of
partner.
Absolutely. It could be anything. I think there are a range of interesting companies that are building in a wide range of spaces. And I think AI will have a very sort of definitive impact in that sense where it's going to make your job easier. It's going to solve a lot of administrative stuff for you. It will solve a lot of rote learning stuff for you. Everything that you don't want to do, or a lot of things that you don't want to do probably, and feel like they're just administrative red tape or burden. I think AI is going to solve a lot of those problems for you. And this is me being pessimistic. The optimistic me would say you probably need to do very little work and a lot more would get done. I think we're already seeing that with a lot of spaces, and it's going to become industry wide as we go on, I think.
So Rahul, we have spoken a lot about AI. We also, peeked into the future, that what the future would look like. We also went way back into the past on how it all started. Let's, have a little fun. So we have a small game segment called This or That.
Oh, nice.
So you have to choose one out of the two. Okay. And let us be quick and rapid in this.
Do I get a gift hamper at the end of it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So automation or augmentation?
Augmentation.
Data privacy or data innovation?
Data privacy.
Predictive AI or generative AI?
Generative AI.
Growth or profitability?
Profitability.
Gen AI in education or Gen AI in healthcare?
Gen AI in education. All through.
Robots as colleagues or AI only assistants?
AI only assistants.
Okay. This is interesting. Work from office or work from anywhere?
Work from office.
Okay. That was not
There's no other way
expected.
that works.
Okay. Books or podcasts? You are sitting in one.
I've always loved books, but I think podcasts can be a great source of learning. So podcasts, yeah.
Great. Coffee or chai?
Chai any day.
Elon Musk or Satya Nadella?
Elon Musk. He can be a little crazy sometimes, but Elon Musk.
And lastly, coding nights or strategy days?
Strategy days.
Great. That was quite fun, Rahul, to understand your view. So, Rahul, I would like to play one more game with you and then I'll let you go. So, you have to just answer my question in one word. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like if I ask you, what's your name?
Rahul.
So, there you go. AI in one word.
Hope.
Gen AI in one word.
Breathtaking.
Biggest risk in AI.
Terminator.
You have
That's
answered
the
for-
kid in me though.
Yes. Leadership in one word.
Patience.
Innovation in one word.
Relentlessness.
Interesting. Outspoken culture in one word.
Quite different. I'd love to think amazing.
Great. And your entrepreneurial journey in one word.
Tough.
Lastly, failure in one word.
Unavoidable.
And success in one word.
Elusive.
Great. That was very interesting, Rahul. Thank you so much for doing this with us today. We learned a lot from your experience, from your insights, and from your knowledge. We wish you and Outspoken all the very best. And thank you so much once again.
Thanks a lot for the good wishes, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you, and I've absolutely loved it.
Great.
See you next time.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching USP Unfolding Startup Potential by Learnbay. If you have liked this video, do not forget to give it a big fat thumbs up. Do share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.